Hey guys, welcome. Today we are working with Unreal Engine 4. It's a quick tutorial. As you can see, I have a Visual Studio open with C++ ready to go. We're not going to jump into programming right away. We're going to go over some things. It'll be quite a few videos before we start customizing all this. And then we will need this. But I will put in the link below the link to download Unity 4. And I'm sorry, Unreal Engine 4. I use Unity, but this video is for Unreal Engine, and then we will put a link so we can get Microsoft Visual Studio. You do not have to pay for it anymore. Now they have the free edition. I still use the deluxe, but I don't actually have it open right now. I'm going to run with you guys in this free edition so we can see what kind of problems we'll run into. You don't need any programming knowledge as of now, but I will put some videos in here for some concepts for you to go over, and we will also be looking at some YouTube videos on concepts of moving characters, building characters. We'll go over Google Sketch. We'll look at some graphic design. We'll take a look at some things we can do here. We can pre-buy some things, and we can build our own content here. So that's what we're going to do. Anyways, let's go here. You guys should already have this installed, ready to go. We're going to go up here. We're going to hit launch. You got to wait for it to initialize. Alright. So we're going to go to new projects. I have a few projects. I screwed this video up a few times already. We're going to go to first person. We're going to do a first person shooter. It'll be very popular with most people. I know some other people might want to do something else. But there's also other things here, like you can do flying. Actually, there's a really cool mod with worlds that's available right now for half off that I might buy. You make a Star Wars, Star Trek type of game. You know, if you're into either one of those. You also have vehicle mods right here, where you can run around with the vehicles, and advanced vehicle mods. Basically, you can take this and you can build it up later, or you know, this vehicle might look familiar. I believe that this engine was used to make Rocket League, but I'm not entirely sure. But today we're going to try it with a first-person shooter. This engine was used to make Batman video games, Dark Knight, whatever it is, Arkham City or whatever, Ark, Squad, a few other very popular games. The Division, a lot of The Division came from this game. They actually, in the end, went to their own little engine that they created that was kind of like this, and they kind of imported all those concepts over. I don't know if they did that because they didn't want to pay the 3% or 6%. I think it's 3%. Whatever you make a game on here, basically the way this works is you pay them 3% of whatever you make. So if you're going to make a lot of money, I think it's worth it just to pay them for the time you've used it and then transfer it all over. But we're going to go into some detail here. Right here you can decide, you know, what kind of game is this going to be. We're going to go desktop console, but we can make mobile apps. You can choose which mobile you want to do. But right now we're going to do desktop or console. By the way, this is C++, so if you're going to develop a game on Mac, then you're going to have to develop the same game on Windows. It's not going to automatically flip over for you. Unfortunately, it's not like Java, where it has the Java machine installed and compiles the code and it's all universal. With C++, it actually goes by the machine that you program it on. So if you're programming on Windows, it'll use all the key sets on Windows, all the registry files, all the memory. And all those things are a little different whenever we switch over to Mac or Linux. It's all a little different for us. On our quality, we're going to go to maximum. And we are going to start with content because we're going to start with first-person shooter. Down here, we're going to go name this tutorial. I'm going to name mine tutorial 1. Go ahead and do that. And then hit create project. Here it's initializing, it's loading everything. You get a preload here. You got some things you can work with, and we're going to go over that. Alright, here we are. We're in our first person template. There's a few things we need to go over. First of all, this right here doesn't do what you think it does. This, on the other hand, does. Now you look at highlights, the areas, places you want to go, and if you double click it, it'll actually take you to the wall. We can focus on the light source. You can go wherever you need to go. Let me explain to you this first person. If you want to make a game that is both first and third person, like say a DayZ, which is a game that I've been working on, you would have to, it's possible to do it in a first person game. In fact, it's preferred. What you would do is you would come here with your first person template, and you would just leave this camera right here, and you could install an additional camera back here up on the axis, on the Z-axis, slightly above the character. And what that would allow the person to do is to see slightly behind them, and then they would see in these directions. So let's go over this. Let me find the character, and let me show you what I'm talking about, axis. Okay, you see these little lines? These are the axis of this character. And you can drag this up, down, left, right, so you can move the character. Or you can actually go over here and change these values to move it to a certain location. Now let me explain to you, if you take something like your Z-axis and you put this at -1, what is going to happen is you are going to fall through the world. Alright, because the metaphysics of this flooring right here only covers the 0 axis and above. I believe it's the -1 and above. Once you get below that, there's nothing for you to stand on. So if you've programmed in Unity and you've built terrain and you've thrown one of your little builders on there, you've experienced this. You go and you start the game, and as soon as you start the game, you fall through the world. The reason you're falling through the world are twofold. One, the metaphysics of your land and your template is not set correctly to hold people, to hold objects. Two is that you are putting your guy way too low on the Z-axis. So you can move it around manually right here. You can grab it and move it, but you need to be wary of where this is, because what happens is you'll move this guy right here, or you'll move this block up or over here, and when you're zoomed out doing this, it will appear like you're still on this plane, but you'll either end up sometimes going way above the plane, so whenever you start the scene, the object drops, smashes something, creates issues, or you'll end up with the object just slightly below the plane, so when the scene starts, the object will actually fall through the world and won't exist anymore. We're trying to avoid that today, but let's get into some things here. First of all, this right here is your scene. It's not very big. It doesn't look very big, but we can expand it, and we're going to expand it. We're going to zoom in here, and as you can see, this is kind of like a CSGO type of setup. Alright, it's not very big, but we can make it bigger. But I'd say a CSGO map is probably like 5 or 6 of these, maybe 7. But basically we got like these block light emanations and stuff. We got walls. We do have skies. These over clouds are moving, but the clouds in the background are not. We can actually change that and increase the speed of these. Right here you can see your camera where it's looking down on you. See your light source. You could change how the light source interacts with the scene. You could add more light if you want more lighting. But let's go ahead and start it and see what we got right now. By the way, you can't edit the scene while you're playing, so if you're going to want to add things or move stuff around, you have to stop. So when you're trying to do that, just keep that in mind. We can change the weapon. The way the weapon fires, we can actually add bullets to it. But for now, this is what we have with our preset. And those blocks move pretty easily, but then we have this block. Takes a little more to move it. I want to show you guys something right quick. Alright, so I'm real close to the box. I'm just going to fire. And you might wonder why nothing's happening, and the reason why is because the physics between these two objects are not set up correctly, and what is happening is that this gun is actually going through this block. And that's a huge problem whenever you're creating games, because what's going to happen is two things are going to happen. Somebody's going to find a way to stick their gun through this block, say at this angle, and as you see, you'll be able to kill people, but they won't actually be able to see you, and they won't be able to shoot back at you. The second thing that's going to happen is people are going to find a way to glitch into this box, because you can fire outside of the box, but you can't fire inside of the box. It is the perfect place to sit, and that's what a lot of glitchers do. They disconnect their modems, and somehow they get inside of these things. So we're going to want to fix that beforehand. We will get into that in another video. I'm just giving you guys an overrun here. So we're installed, we're going, we're moving around. You can see you can jump around, you can look, sky and stuff. To stop this scene, there's two things you could do. You could hit exit, or you could go up there and hit stop. Okay, so we're going to back out, and we're going to take a good look at this. And I want to show you guys, you see these grids? These grids are what you're building upon, and you can see there's grids and then there's smaller grids. Depending on the size of your character, you can use either one. If you back really far out, I think they have even much larger grids. But for now we're using this, which would be these individual grids, and not these tiny ones. If you're going to make a huge world, you might think of scaling to these tiny ones. But I mean, you can make a pretty large world on this one as well. So let's take a look here. Let's get centered. My favorite way to center is to come over here and just double click and zoom out. Add a center object. See, I use the first person because it's actually in the center. You can use whatever you want. So now let's say we want to expand this. So we're looking at this and we're going, hey, this map's too small. We're going to start with ways that we can expand and things we can do. First of all, we need to go up here and we're going to double click wall. Don't shift while you do it. Alright, so we have one wall. And it's sitting right here, and what you can do is you can grab this wall and you can move it. It's quite simple. There it goes. Now that wall is gone. As you can see, the wall has actually been moved away, and it's sitting right here away from our scene, and we can actually take it and move it further out. Okay. Sorry guys, I have shift as my speak key, as my talk key, and apparently shift is not very kind with actually dragging things, so I apologize for that. I will change it as soon as possible. Okay, so now we have our walls, and this is wall 1. We're going to move wall 2, 3, and 4. It doesn't matter if you lift them or whatever. We're not really worried about that right now. Now what I'm going to show you guys is you're wondering how to expand this scene, and you think you have to recreate your flooring, but you don't. See, all you have to do is come in here, and there should be something somewhere. There it is, it's floor. I'm sorry guys. You click on floor, you come down here, you can center on it. And what you can do is click here, go to edit, and you go to duplicate. And now you have floor 2. Alright, so we take floor 2. And you move it. You need to get down here low. You see what I did? I got lower so I could actually take a good look at this, but you can use your arrow keys to move, or you can use your mouse. I use a combination of both. Alright, right here it gives you a good idea where this floor should be, so let's go ahead and move this and slide it in position. Okay, so there's two ways you can do this. I'm just showing you guys the slide in position because I know a lot of you are going to do this. You're going to make this mistake. One way is to go ahead and click on floor 1. You see where the z-axis is on floor 1? That's its height. Now you see floor 2? It's way lower. But it seems to be lined up with it. I got it as best as I could. Hopefully this works. We're going to go ahead and play the scene. We're going to see what happens. Alright, we can see our walls have definitely moved pretty far. Oh, I actually hit it. Hey, it's pretty cool. What we're going to do, we're going to walk around, we're going to find our new floor. Our wall got moved way down there, and you see what I'm talking about. Whenever you move it with the centering, it never goes where you think it's going. So here's our floor right here, and we walk off onto this. And it creates this drop off. We have this huge gap here. That just doesn't work. You could make this floor slightly lower, or if you wanted to, you could create some kind of ramp object to come down here if you're looking to get different heights. Say you want this to be lower, then you would just create a ramp object. You don't have to duplicate the floors. This is just for our basic learning purposes, but we're going to go over how to resize these and make them different sizes so that, you know, if CSGO, like you wanted to stick a pit right here, you could. I'm using CSGO as an example because a lot of people are apparently playing it right now. And the gun kind of reminds me, the crosshairs kind of remind me of CSGO a little bit. But yeah, that's what we got. So that was our first example. Let me go show you how to fix this. We hit EX, exit the scene. Or escape, I'm sorry. EX. We hit escape to exit the scene. We backed out of the scene, and now we're going to take a look at this. And we're going to go to floor 2. And first we're going to go to floor 1 without hitting shift. You see I copied that value, and now we're going to paste it in here. Okay, for a minute the floor disappeared, but now we can see, we can run the scene. We'll see if they're at the same height. And voila, they are on the exact same height. This right here is just a border for the floor that we didn't have here. You can see it runs all along. You can add a border later if you want to add borders like this. But for now, we have our flooring set up and we have expanded our scene. You might wonder why we're a little left and we're a little right. We're about to go over that. I apologize for people who already know how to do this, but a lot of people do not know or understand how this works. So I'm going to explain to them how these axes work so that they can create scenes and have objects exactly where they want them. But for now, we're going to end the scene by hitting escape. Apologize, guys. I am a little sick. What we're going to do is we're going to go to floor 1. And we're going to copy all of these numbers, okay? So our y-axis is at 0. But our y-axis here is at negative 3870. We need to fix that. So you go to floor 1, go ahead and copy this. The last part is our X. Our floor one is at -282. We're going to copy that value. And we've replaced it. And let's go see what happens. Our floor has disappeared, hasn't it? Oh man. Well, you know what happened, guys? And I know some of you may realize this now. I actually stuck the second floor right under the first one again. Alright. So I wanted to explain this to you. Don't. Here, we'll wax it out and I'll show you. The x-axis should not be the same for the two. What's going to happen is you're going to stick the floor right back where the other one is. Alright, so the x should be you going out and away, which means you're manually going to have to line it up. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is, guys. And we drug it back out. Everything else here looks good. Let's play scene and see if we got it correct. There's no gap. We're pretty perfect there. We got it set up. You see it glitching a bit right here. I am overlapping a tiny bit. When you actually compile this, this won't happen anymore. But what's happening is this border that I showed you guys earlier that's set up is trying to interact with this. And since they don't both have the border, this is kind of glitching through. So you'd actually have to pull this out just a tad bit more. But we can see now we've doubled the size of this, and we have this wall. Oh no! I died. Okay, so if you fall off the world and you die like that, you just hit exit, escape. And now you're back to the scene. Now guys, now that y'all understand that, y'all can actually figure out how to move these walls and stuff. I will do another video attaching the walls to the floor. This one's a little long, but I had to show a lot of things. We'll get into the next one soon, and we're going to work on start building our scene and making it larger. Thank you, and I'll see y'all next video.